Let's see. Announced as a part of the patch 3.3, of course, we know we're going to get the final chapter of the Dragonsong War. We've known for a while that 3.3 was going to kind of conclude the Dragonsong War storyline, but here we kind of get final confirmation of it, and I think that we're definitely set to square off against Nidhogg. And
Justinian.
I'm interested that we're ending the main narrative at 3.3, and so I have to believe that we're going to get a 3.4 and a 3.5, and so I have to wonder where they're going to be shifting the narrative from there. Are we finally going to be getting some payoff when it comes to the Ida and Papalymo storyline?
It has to be. I mean, if we're coming up to the
I don't know.
end,
They've set up a lot, though.
Yeah, well, we're coming up to what should hopefully eventually or hopefully be the end of the Dragonsong conflict,
the Ishgard narrative. Really.
Yeah, and the only ones that we haven't gotten back is Papalymo and Yida.
But they're not in Ishgard. They're clearly somewhere.
Well, I know, but
right.
I mean, those are like the only big last pieces of the whole Scion situation that hasn't been brought back into the fold, so they're absolutely going to use them to bring us into whatever the next big conflict is. It's the only smart choice.
It could also be the Warriors of Darkness. We keep following that trail.
There's so many things at play. We've also got the Warring Triad too, and we don't and the Garleans are involved by proxy in the Warring Triad.
The Warring Triad, even though it has main story, is separate from the main story.
Yeah, right. So
the Warring Triad is the only sort of question mark I have on where's that going. The Warriors of Darkness, all we know is that they're tied to the Ascians, and the reason that they summoned them was because the Warriors of Light are becoming a bit too problematic, and it's kind of like, all right, you know what, let's bring out the big guns. I don't think the Ascians control the Warriors of Darkness. I think that was just sort of like, all right, look, we're unleashing you now to hopefully do something about the Warriors of Light. So I feel like they're going to be playing sort of like a wild card round, and that's something, it's no idea where that's going, but Papalymo and Yida is definitely going to be drawing us into the next conflict, I think.
I mean, there's a lot of dangling plot threads. We've also got what's his name in Ul'dah that had Cartano in play, and we don't know if this new PvP zone how that's going to impact the narrative either.
What the fuck is his name?
I can't even
Lolorito.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like they just kind of like dropped the ball and just like kind of forgot about Omega.
No, because just because we know he's there doesn't mean that we have to jump on that, I think there's a difference between like dangling plot holy thread things like the Warring Triad and stuff that, like looming dangers such as Omega.
Right.
Just because we know it's there doesn't mean that...
Well, I mean, the three nations have been fighting over the plot of land that is Omega territory for an expansion.
Okay, but how many people actually know Omega's down there? Is that like a commonly held piece of information, or is that just something that we came across because we know that Lolorito talked about it?
Well, the world leaders know about it. That's why we're fighting over that land, isn't it?
I thought that the reason we're fighting over is just because all of that stuff, okay, obviously it's going to have some type of value, to be salvaged or something, but it's not like, oh shit, there's a fucking weapon under there and we need it now.
Yeah, see, I don't know who... that's the thing, is that it's been so long since we've visited this part of the storyline, I can't remember who knows anything about it or not. I just don't know. It's been forever.
See, I kind of thought that it was only Lolorito who knew.
See, that's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Because I don't think the leaders are that concerned about it, because they've turned the whole conflict into a type of war game. So I don't think that anyone's really like, we need to have that so much as it is, look, we all want it. Why don't we kind of turn this into a way for our different, grand companies and soldiers to let off steam?
Well, and the whole narrative of Ishgard has really been basically a distraction to get us out of the mainlands of Eorzea for a while. So, I mean, when we do eventually go back, I imagine we'd be able to pick up at that point. But Ultima was pressed to the forefront because the Garleans had it.
But are we going to go back there? I don't know that we are going to go back to the mainland in sort of the same way that Cataclysm went back and redid a lot of the zones in WoW. You know what I mean?
Warcraft reference?
How crazy would it be if 3 expansions from now, like Omega suddenly becomes a problem.
Well, that's the thing, is that they could be setting it up as a more long-term thing. It's just I think we need to revisit that at some point to remember that it's even still a thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you that. Yeah.
And we need to know how that storyline is going to advance. Like, we now have a new PvP mode that's going to be coming for Frontlines. Does that mean that we're also going to be getting a bit more information in this area? Because they really strongly attached the Omega thing to Cartano.
Right. Now, remember recently, I forget if it was a live letter exactly what it was, but they did mention that before 4.0, we're going to be getting another Grand Company rank up.
Right.
And they mentioned that they wanted to do that in a way that was meaningful. So it's not just going to be like, all right, cool, you can rank up now. That could be their in for sort of reintroducing us to the idea or the concept of Omega.
I'm not sure how, though.
I don't know either. But
Yeah. Well, outside of the